Yeah, that's right. Bark away, doggo. Bark away. Hush. Go. God, you're such a nut.
Bark away and you tell her to hush.
Well, she never barks when we tell her to, ever. And then now she's just like, as soon as we start a show, she's like, I want to talk too. Hey, everybody. My name's Princess, and welcome to our podcast, So, actually, my name's Web C, and welcome to the podcast. Tonight, we got the whole crew in the house. We got Leprechaun, Andrew, the Wicked Wookie, CM Howell, also known as the Model Rocketeer. So, we're all here, and tonight we are going to be watching. Let me pull it up on mine so I can get it. Anunnaki, full movie, Anunnaki documentary film, brought to us by the YouTube channel Anunnaki Ancient Mystery. So that's a whole lot of writing I'm going to throw up on the ticker tape real quick for a little bit for us too while we get started into this. This is just going to be a groundwork movie film bit that we're going to watch. So we're all on the same page, you the viewers and us, your hosts, when we delve into more things about these stuff. So let's get into it.
Anunnaki, the movie, the full story of the lost book of Enki by Zahaya Sitchin. Neither heaven nor earth existed. Only the Atsu, the primordial creator, reigned alone in the void. From Atsu, Tiamat came into existence, a divine mother.
That better?
Yep, I was just going to ask you to.
Then,
What's better?
Tiamat nurtured their daughters. From their mixture, various planets has been born. And for Tiamat, Apsu reserved the preciousness of the shining metal, the eternal gold, exclusively for her.
All right, so that's like, we're already getting into it. Where's that feedback coming from? Hello?
Hold on.
I'm getting feedback from either Andrew or Carrie.
I don't know if it's me, but I'll give you a little mic check. Mic Web C check.
Yeah, your mic is crap right now.
Yeah, you're breaking in and out.
Is it mine?
You're giving me feedback, Andrew. I'm just gonna turn you down.
Yeah, I'll just turn my mic off.
All right.
Nevertheless, Tiamat had rebelled against everyone else, and then, from its sun, a giant planet has been created. Forged from the depths, this new world carries the seed of life. That was the planet Nibiru. The big planet Nibiru had been elected the celestial representative and fought a battle with Tiamat. From the battle of the gods, the Emerald Bracelet has been formed, as well as the planet Earth, also called Ki, and the moon, known as Kinbu. Nibiru had become known as the crossing planet, and none of the others were to cross between heaven and earth. Nibiru was a reddish, giant, glowing planet. The measure of an orbit around the sun is called 1 shar, the equivalent of 3,600 years of Earth. Life on Nibiru would naturally arise because the planet had the seed of life forged from its own sun. Nibiru's atmosphere was dense, fueled by continuous volcanoes eruptions. Its occurrence made it possible to maintain life along the large orbit around the sun. Volcanoes activity kept the temperature in cold times, as well as in the periods of heat. The rain occurring between one and another, keeping an abundant life between the different periods.
All right, so far they're basically giving us the story of creation for the planets in our solar system. And what happened to cause, like what I'm getting is to cause the Anunnaki's planet, Nibiru, to be such an odd elliptical planet instead of on the same orbital path as us. So just to sum that all up, like I'm making sure we're all on that same page still.
Perfect.
First Great War that took place on Nibiru ages back to the dispute between the people of North and the people of South. And it was from the ruins that a great heavenly empire has begun. North and South have joined together so that only one commander exists, one king to rule them all. The chosen one was a warrior from the north, and his royal title was N, the Celestial One. His wife from the South Kingdom has been called N2, and so, in a perfect marriage, North and South came together. There followed a period of stability, peace, progress, and abundance. However, from shire to shire, from successor to successor, something hidden on the shadows of time was warning that huge problems would begin very soon. Nibiru's atmosphere began to degrade, and then commanders, sages, and advisors debated the situation on endless conversations and decisions. It was necessary to stimulate the work of volcanoes or pulverize gold onto the atmosphere. And while research and discussions continued, the problem engaged itself like an obscure heart in the core of the planet and the population. In addition of those environmental problems, disagreements break through the royal palace, reaching the people and raising complex problems. The problems raised more and more when Lama had become the king of Nibiru.
It's Jon Snow, dudes.
Lama could hear the wails and protests of the people, but he did nothing. And then a priest called Alalu raised his voice against Lama, and having murdered Lama, had been named the new Nibiru's king. His decision was to seek for gold on the Hammered Bracelet, as well as to launch the weapons of terror on Nibiru to spur the volcanoes to work. But both of them had been unsuccessful. That's when Anu challenges Alalu to combat. And Alalu, having lost the fight, he found his way boarding on a celestial ship. And from beyond the Hammered Bracelet, on the ancient planet Key from a new home, he'd found the gold and the salvation. And having delivered the news to the planet Nibiru, he claimed his immediate return to the throne.
So
That's when the second...
I know they always say that they need the gold for their atmosphere to restore it and everything. But did they just say why they needed the gold? They just said after the war, the atmosphere became destabilized. They didn't say, is that it? Is that just the atmosphere is out of whack and the gold is the only thing that helps? I'm not sure.
What little bit I know about that is because the alchemical properties of gold are magical, and there's so much that we can do with that. I think it's mercury. The idea of using mercury to create a Torah effect when you magnetize it, there's something to do electrically and alchemically with gold.
Yeah, this is all new to me, so I'm not. I'm trying to follow along as best I can.
All right, I'm just trying to stop and give us good talking points. Like right there, that seemed like a really good stopping point right there, right before.
And just real quick, so people understand, it's my understanding that this is coming from the Sumerian tablets, is where this information is being broken down from. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's where they're coming to conclusion with this story on where they're bringing this information from.
Okay.
Yep. So, all right, we're gonna continue on.
Anunnaki, a son of Anu, the wisdom scientist Enki, arrived on planet Earth carrying a small team and founded Eridu about 450,000 years ago. The first spaceships loaded with gold had been delivered to the Anunnaki on Nibiru, and the theory was confirmed to be true. The pulverized gold into the atmosphere was able to cool the wind of the planet and return Nibiru to sovereignty. But the amount of gold was tiny and insufficient for Nibiru's needs. However, there were good news. Because of that, another Anunnaki soon arrived on Earth. Anu's legitimate son, Enlil, the son of the queen, had also arrived on the planet Ki and had been named the Lord of Command. Enki, the firstborn of Anu by a concubine, brother of Enlil, had been displaced to the depths of the Abzu. And it was when Anu was preparing to travel to the new recent discovered planet that he had been attacked by his antecessor of the throne, Alalu. Anu defeated Alalu in combat one more time, and Alalu was sentenced to death, having found the ninth of his soul on Mars, also known as Lamu. And as soon as the mining for gold had begun, new Anunnaki came to the planet in ever-increasing numbers. The great gods, counting on 600 Anunnaki and 300 junior gods, the so-called Igigi, the operators of mining facilities.
Okay, from what we know, through the Sumerian texts, through the Egyptian texts, and the hieroglyphs and everything, what we're being told right now is the name of the tall grays. That's who that group, that 600, and then they said the subgroup. That subgroup, they're supposed to be the tall grays who are subservient, but on par as a god with the Anunnaki. So it's kind of one of those. Craig, you were talking about your fascination with wondering where that mentality came from of like the whole uh, master servant dichotomy. That's
Slavery.
like, yeah, slavery. That's definitely where I would say like there's definitely a pointing. They're pointing at it right now.
Yep, and they'll get
With
into
the
it a little
rising
more.
numbers of workers, researchers, and investigators, new clans began to form, and the disputes that had previously occurred in Nibiru has begun to be reproduced on planet Earth.
Yeah, that's our homegirl.
And it was when the junior gods had started a protest, tired of the hard work, and so an assembly of Anunnaki gods has begun. At the assembly of the gods, the Anunnaki and scientist Enki revealed a secret about the Abzu. According to his observations, in the Abzu there was a wild being, different but similar to the Anunnaki. The DNA was compatible, as the seed of life has been originated from Nibiru when the ancient celestial bodies collided. Enki had explained that this ape could be manipulated, giving the essence of life from the Anunnaki and become a perfect primitive worker. The need for gold was larger than ever before, and that was the reason for the proposal to be approved in assembly. And so, Enki, Nima, and the Nikizida began experiments. Several attempts were made without success, until Nima was able to triumphantly announce what her hands had made. That was Edemu, the perfect alchemy molded from clay, the essential seed of life from Anunnaki, a perfect hybrid and model. The Anunnaki closely followed the evolution and the descendant cryptids that were expected to emerge. It was supposed to form an army of new primitive workers, but at the base of it, and procreation didn't happen. Ingizida decided to
What's going on?
intervene so that Adamu and Tiamat could procreate.
Grab a bag of
And
peas.
then Liu, the Lord of Command, had lost his mind when he realized that the new creatures had received the life essence and could be like them in the cycles of life. Ingizida had clarified that the long-lived branch the creatures hadn't received. But Liu, furious, had banished the creatures of Eden and had sent them to the Abzu, deep lands commanded by Enki. And it was there that Adamu and Tiamat had children, and earthlings began to proliferate. The work in the mines of gold increased, and the primitive workers were considered skilled and perfect for the activity. Thus, the Anunnaki increasingly hide from work, and from shard to shard, the new creatures had become the most perfect servants.
So they bred us like dogs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting. That's what it clearly says is they bred us like dogs, selective breeding. And then when they finally got to one that was subjectable to mate with them, they did the cross mate, and that's what created humanity. So they're saying that the gods are the missing link in the chain of evolution. So this is where they're not going to discredit evolution, but at the same time, they're going to say the gods had such a willing hand in it, and more so subjecting themselves as also part of the experiment.
Right.
And it actually, go ahead.
Oh, I think this is where we get these tales of the apes and the missing link. It's like, oh, we evolved from monkeys. It's just this condescending Darwinism story that we kind of like shake off. But there's something in this.
Yep, and they actually get a little bit further into it, and what made me really intrigued about this video, and the reason I sent it to Web C is because they touch so many different like historical and biblical stories that I just enjoy the way it kind of connects the dots, what I'm saying, outside of the what's the word I want to say, mainstream history that were kind of spilled through the Bible or through history or whatever, where to me it's more believable than half of the stuff that we're fed.
Dude, I'm totally gonna agree with Leprechaun on that, man. You just nailed it, brother. So here's this thing. So we're coming into this age of knowledge, and we need to kind of forget what we think we know. We need to open our minds and our hearts to the things that we don't know that are mysterious, because this knowledge is going to bring us limitless.
Yeah, so my intake on it is, they had such a hand in it that it was a unique happening, like, and that's why they were trying to like find something like, now what are we like innately? Is that why, like, I was talking about a couple weeks ago is like we hoard materials. We just pile them up and we don't do anything with them. We have people stand around and guard them and protect the materials, but we literally do nothing. Who are we holding that material for? Like, that's just my brain just constantly asks that question. Like, it just makes no sense for us to hold on to it.
Real quick, Web C, is there a way for us to bring the audio and the video up just a little bit more?
I can no.
Okay.
I'm
no,
sitting
that's fine.
kind of this.
It's loud enough. It's just if we could tune it a little bit higher, it'd be great. But no, it's fine. Let's keep going.
Did my voice get louder?
No, it's the video, the audio of the video we're listening to that I'd love just a little bit.
So it's looping through my microphone is what I'm
Yep.
doing with it. So
But one of the creators, Enki, had another plan. He wanted to turn primitive workers into a civilization. So he began to study a solution. Finally, he decided to copulate with 2 terrestrials. And from this act, one of the terrestrial females gave birth to a boy who became known as Adapa.
Adam.
The other female gave birth to a girl named Titi. Enki claimed that he had created the new civilized humans. From his seed, a new kind of earthling had arisen. They were his image and likeness. Anunnaki and humans would be satiated together. They would build houses, and he would teach these new humans to plant harvests and raise animals. They will become a civilization, said Enki. But Enki had made clear that his creation had wisdom and speech, but he had not gave them the long life that came from Nibiru. And so, Adapa and Titi grew up and had a relationship. From their relationship, the twins Ka-in and Abael has been born. And from this point, the humans had multiplied and were abundant. Anunnaki and Igigi, major and junior gods, began to have relationships with earthly women. With that, a new infinity of different beings came into existence. And little by little, tension increased between the Anunnaki and the Earthlings, just as Nibiru was approaching the
So real
Earth.
quick, when they got to this point, this made me think a lot of Greek mythology and the Greek gods, and then them talking about where the Greek gods were having kids with humans down on Earth and making demigods, and this made me think of that immediately, and just kind of made that connection for me. To where also during Greek mythology, they also started discussing, the giants, the different, mythological creatures that are considered like monsters or whatever in, our time. But seeing that picture that we just missed and them starting to talk about this, like, just kind of triggered that thought process for me when I was first watching this video.
Yeah, like them showing like the Titans and the Giants and the Hydras and all of those things all on one plane of existence. That definitely hints at Greek mythology. It kind of also hits towards Norse mythology as well.
Yep. Yeah, they're one of the same in my eyes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like there's definitely a lot of similarities between those two religions, and then you go back and look at and it also plays into there's another religion that comes from the African Sahara area out of Kemet, and that they also talked about all these mythological creatures within their I don't know what to call that religion because I don't remember the name of it, but there is a religion that came out from that area too, that they were also referring to all of those same beasts, those same monsters. Everything was this, and more. There was actually in the other religion they were talking about it was post Atlantis. So it was supposed to be timeline post Atlantis, where they were talking about other beasts and creatures surviving the post Atlantis disaster, and not very many of the beasts surviving, just a few. And that's what made them easier to hunt off, and now they no longer exist, type of thing. Is because the Younger Dryas impact is all tied into this as well, and one of the things that they could have done is the Anunnaki coming to Earth could have been also what had caused the impacts to come this way as well. They could, whatever technology or whatever they used to get to Earth, they could have also accidentally pulled that asteroid out of a different projection and pulled it into Earth and caused what happened too. So that is something that, like, I was worried. I was wondering if they would cover that here, but they didn't. They were just covering the death, the life and death of the planet Nibiru, and it's not completely dead. They said it's got one or two more cycles before that
Yep.
planet
No,
might not make it.
keep going. It gets
All right.
brought in again.
Okay. Cool.
And with it, a great deluge was coming. The Anunnaki rushed to their ships in refuge. Death has been decreed to humans. But Enki, however, had other plans. He had been visited by a divine emissary, a dream state vision. Enki has decided to order his chosen one, Ziusudra, to build an ark and escape the fate that had been destined for all other terrestrials. And after the embracing of the dark arms of death came down on earth, the Anunnaki realized that life had survived. A new plan of peace had been established, and golden abundance was found. But the deals could be undone, and in fact, they were. The Anunnaki wars reached different regions, and greed and thirst for power spoke louder. Marduk, son of Enki,
The War
had
of the
brought the
Titans.
death of Dumuzi, great love of Inanna,
Yep.
granddaughter of Enlil. Desperate, Inanna descended from the depths of the underworld in the domains of Nergal and Ereshkigal. Thus, Inanna died to later be resurrected. By this time, Marduk had been exiled, while the brothers Enki and Enlil divided the earth among the rest of their clans. Marduk had been forgiven, and then he declared himself the supreme god and proclaimed himself as Ra, ushering the new era of pharaonic reigns to mark the beginning of a new civilization. The land was divided, and so were the Anunnaki. There were different clans and people ruled by different gods. And the cities with their respective populations hollowed their sacred idols with buildings in sacred places. Inanna encouraged the belief in the resurrection of summer, one of the greatest achievements. While Marduk, or Ra to the Egyptians, proclaimed the coming of the age of the Ram as his own age. And once more the mysterious divine emissary appeared, but this time to Enlil, revealing that a great calamity was coming again. The armies rose, and then Ninurta and Nergal reached to the weapons of terror, ravaging the cities. The cloud of destructions, the evil winds were thrown, and the dust of death covered every corner of Sumer.
Let's pause on that real quick.
Okay, so they just said that there was a nuclear explosion.
And with that being said, there's documentation from our history speaking about our ancestors talking about the effects from a nuclear war or a nuclear blast, and I find that particularly interesting because of it.
Yeah, if I'm correct, so Sumer is ancient Iraq. So if we
Mhm.
go to ancient Iraq and we look at that, we'll be looking at possibly there's a layer within a certain area of Iraq. There's a layer of radioactive glass that indicates there was an explosion of a high magnitude in that area.
Yeah.
They
And then, go ahead.
That's it.
This kind of battle, with almost the gods, it sounds like, right? Makes me also think of when you go to the religious beliefs of India. I mean, they very clearly discuss battles in the sky of different races, or what I'm saying, beings.
Yeah.
And I mean, that automatically also triggers with this discussion and conversation.
Oh yeah. Well, because in India they talk about how their gods flew through to protect them and fight for them, and then that the other gods were trying to come in and take over those gods, and that each god looked very different, and they even flew different vessels. Like the gods from India, they threw things that look like bells. Their crafts, they called them vimanas.
Yep.
They look like bells. And then you have the just basically the saucers, the flying saucers, or the chariots of light is what they're also known as. That was the opposite side. And so I'm totally like,
Remember that all these were made of gold in ancient times.
yep.
Yeah,
So
those cities that look like the structures that look like bells. I mean, they described them as almost sky cities. They weren't just like some small thing. Like they were big.
yeah, that's what they were like. More than 20 people could fit inside of one of them.
Yeah.
Super easy is what they were saying, and with space to live for each person and to be comfortable and stuff. Yeah. And that's by back in those days. Yeah, that's a city. 20, 30 people. That's enough to make a city. So yeah. What else were they talking about in there? What was the disagreement though?
The disagreement that was a few minutes back. It was kind of similar to when you look at like the Book of Enoch or the Book of the Giants, where the fallen angels had children with the women's of humanity and made these weird beasts and made the world corrupt. I think is what that was more referring to. And
Okay.
they tried to wipe it clean, and that's where they started getting into the story of Noah, where
Right. Yep. With the flood,
the
the
ark was built
deluge.
and humanity survived
Yeah.
within that.
Okay.
Is where that was.
Yeah. So we're
I
leading it.
believe
We're
what
right
referring
at
to.
the trail end of that section. Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't have much longer. We only got a couple minutes left on the show.
Legends of Marduk have been survived. The reign of Ra held an undue bow to the inevitable, taking it as a sign of the will of the Creator of all. Whatever must happen, happens, suddenly. Then, Nibiru and Enki took their leave, hoping to meet again either on Earth or Nibiru. Enki, then the great god, reflecting on the past and the future, decided to update his chosen one, Ingusar, the master scribe, for the divine mission of recording the complete history of the Anunnaki on 14 tablets. If you want to understand better the full history of the Anunnaki, watch the episodes of the Anunnaki series.
All right. So we're gonna that's the end of the episode. So what this is like this website, Anunnaki Ancient Mystery. These guys are putting together this show in a very great manner. Like I like the way they were doing it. I do feel like there was very little that I didn't already know or had an already somewhat of a, oh, that's also similar in this spot too type of thing. Just hearing it, the text being read out through them like that was a lot cool compared to like just the bits and pieces that we've had to put together ourselves, you know, as we do our own research and everything. Because what's funny is we've all done our own types of research, but I'm sure we've all been led to the same answers and conclusions after our research has been completed. Is that each religious text that we have, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Book of Buddha, all those books, they're all like documents that historicalize all the events that led up to what we have for modern day humanity. And each book has certain segments. One book has like a segment on how to live. One book has, then another segment on how to pray, and then another segment on the history. And then, a lot of people just cast the history aside and only focus on the first two in religion. But if you look through each religion, there is that history does exist in each religion.
Mm-hmm.
It's really crazy.
Strong similarities.
Oh yeah, strong similarities. I agree. And so yeah, this is
like when they started talking about Adam and Eve, I felt like that kind of build up and led to makes a ton of more sense to me than like what the Bible portrays, or is just here's people live in the Garden of Eden. It's
yeah.
I don't know. I I I could buy into like the layout that they were giving in this video a lot more than what we're portrayed to believe or told to believe. And that also goes back to the big book burning. I mean, when we talk about the beginning of Christianity, they destroyed, I don't even know the percentage, but I mean, a mass percentage of all the other old documentation that would have maybe potentially given us more than
Right.
what
Yeah.
were available.
These scrolls so important when those popped up.
Yep.
The Dead Sea Scrolls turned out to be mostly a copy of the Bible, is what the Dead Sea Scrolls turned out to be. It's
right,
like
an honest copy of the Bible, because they took what they had, the original, and started rewriting it to take away the philosophy part, which is the love of knowledge and wisdom, and they started inputting what we call religion, which is only rules, morals. If you do this, this happens. That's not what philosophy is. Philosophy is the understanding of the universe. When you start telling me that if I do this wrong, I'm going to hell, that's all bullshit. But what the fact is if I do wrong, I get what's coming. Karma, the law of attraction, the law of assumption. I do good, I get good. I do bad, I get bad. Sometimes people get away with it for a long time. But it all comes back. Because if you don't get caught in this lifetime, you're coming back.
Well, yep, and that's the. I mean, where I think you're coming at Rocketeer is we were able to be given some raw information instead of saying some kind of manipulated BS as a means of very early political control. Over society. At a point in time.
That I've noticed is that so like you guys said, there's a lot of parallels in a lot of different religions. There's also parallels of battles between the gods up in the skies and stuff like that. And in Christianity, if you actually go and read the Bible, and I mean actually read it, they talk about angels and Nephilim and all this other stuff. And they don't describe angels as being these nice, happy little beings. They're vengeful, vicious monsters. And Nephilim, which are fallen angels, are just as vengeful, just as evil. They are there to destroy and cause mayhem. They are not there They're not there to be these happy little, oh, we'll take you up to heaven. No, they're gonna send you to heaven, but they're gonna gut you at the same time.
No.
So,
And that's where, I mean, like, that's where, like, when we talk, when they talk about angels, and then, Greek mythology, talk about those gods, the Greek gods weren't, the Hercules Disney movie.
no, God, no.
They were messed up.
Hell yeah.
They wanted power. They owned that power. And if they weren't given that respect, they would make you feel their wrath. And, that's where, I 100% agree with, with Wookie talking about, like, what the Bible really portrays angels as. And I love to, just make that connection with Greek mythology and Norse mythology's gods. It's one of the same, and they just switched the stories of the Bible up to make it sound
if you look at all religion across the board, if you take all religion and you lay it out, you have one all omnipotent being who's in control of everything. You have his lessers or her lessers or whatever it is, and then you have somebody who's trying to take that power, and their people that they're sending forth, and it's them that are fighting over the use of us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Whether it doesn't matter what religion it is, whether you call him God or Buddha or Allah or whatever, you have some all omnipotent being that's in control, and they have their minions that go out and do their bidding. And you can call them monsters, you can call them angels, you can call them demons, you can call them whatever the hell you want. It doesn't matter. It's one being controlling everything. Us. Everything.
Yep.
And now it's become the mind. They're controlling it by our mind. It used to be physical labor to build things or to cultivate crops. We don't live in that world. They're controlling our minds.
You cut out, brother.
You're breaking in and out, Rocketeer.
You started talking too fast.
But
in the old days,
yeah, no, I mean that's
nope.
Okay, it's good. It's good.
Go ahead, Leprechaun.
But I mean, yeah, you know what I mean, and I mean, just to play with that and going off that, I mean, if you look at the way our society's structured now, I mean, I don't see a whole lot of difference other than they've gotten smarter and more manipulative with the way that they rule us. I mean, when I go to my 9-to-5 job, I don't feel free. I mean, I can't just quit my job and I can't just live my life and live off the land. I mean, it's not structured that. It's structured for us to have to do the things to make everything flow in the elites or whatever you want to call them's playbook.
Yeah.
I mean, why the heck is... Go ahead.
Sorry, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're absolutely correct. And society is designed so that the people that are at the top remain there, and the people that are at the bottom remain there. They say that all of these things that we have, like social assistance and this and that, oh, we're there to help the people. No, you're not. You're not giving them a chance to get ahead. You're not giving them anything. You're not letting them stand up and get ahead. No, you're keeping your thumb right on them and going, you know what? You can stay right where you're at.
I mean, let's look at we can break it down really simple to, look at our educational system.
Yep.
Well, I mean, my kids know nothing about finances. They're not going to learn anything about finances. I didn't learn anything about finances from elementary, middle school, high school, or anything. I mean, they don't want us to know about money or how it works. They don't want us to have a chance to succeed. They want us to be workers. I mean, if you look at the way the school structure is, I mean, how many documentaries have you seen about the school structure being set up the same way as a prison?
Yep.
Ding, bell goes off. You're allowed to leave now. Oh, guess what? You're allowed to eat lunch now. I mean, in the same way in the
Yep.
workforce. I mean, I've worked in warehouses. I've worked in the food industry. I mean, Craig, you can go have lunch now. You have 30 minutes. Be back. If you're not back, you're in trouble. If you get in trouble enough times,
thank
you're
you.
fired. Go
Gracious
find somewhere else to
slave
go.
Right? Thank you, gracious slave owner, for allowing me to go eat now. I appreciate it. You know, I feel that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we're living in this, especially here in America. I mean, I would love to travel more. I just can't afford it. But I mean, here, I mean, we're fed a very big false freedom, as how we live. And it even makes me think it was probably about 8 years ago or so, and it really pissed me off. There was this ex-military. He bought some land, built a house, and he built his house to be completely self-efficient. He had rain catcher. He lived off the only water that he connected. He caught, what I'm saying? And he got in trouble with the government because they were mad that he wasn't hooked up to their systems and they couldn't make money off him. I mean, we should be pushing towards that, not away from that. We want to be as ego-friendly as possible. And they were mad at this person for not, paying his dues to the state or to the city or whoever. And it blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind.
It's no different here in Canada. Here in Canada, a prime example, my son, he's 19, right? He's graduated high school. He's got a decent job. He's making money, right? But he doesn't, in the last year and a half, the number of times that me and my wife have had to sit down and have a conversation with him to explain to him how finances work. Like, yeah, okay, you got your first credit card. Good for you, buddy. Just remember that credit card, every time you use it and you don't pay it off, they're making money off you, which is taking money out of your pocket. Yeah, sure, they'll give you $1,000 up front, but they're going to take $1,500 by the end, right? The society, especially Western society, is not set up for anyone to get ahead. It's if you have it, if you already have it, you're good, you're golden. If you don't have it, you got to work 10 times harder to get ahead of it.
So while we're on talking about this and we're all talking about freedom and stuff and America's version of freedom, well, the image I got up right now on the screen is of a guy holding a metallic rock that he dug out of the ground in the People's Democratic Republic of Congo. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, you don't have all the freedoms you have in America. But America's about to deliver them a big old dose of freedom, and here's why. This right here. Pay attention. This rock is lighting that light up. So this is a rock that is producing energy. This is 0 point. This is no energy. Look, they're showing us the rock. Like there's nothing.
It's not lithium.
Yeah, it's new. Anyways, they said this rock, it's producing it all on its own. And now here's a giant chunk of it. And they're touching it with another rock to show you like
it's basically arc welding.
Yeah. Like it's super volatile. I was like, so wherever they found this or however they found this, I mean, like this is some cool stuff. But yeah, like I said, America's about to deliver them a nice batch of freedom. So everybody watch out for that. We're gonna get in trouble. So yeah, thank you to Nacheki from what is it? It looks like Nacheki from Africa. Yeah. This is a report coming directly out of Africa. Like when I research it or when I look it up, it's just a bunch of different African websites from YouTube are just popping up saying, "Yo, this stuff's real."
I've seen it. Yep. Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that on everybody else's radar. Like, hey, that's something else that's interesting to look into.
Yeah, that's that vibranium shit they talk about. But they say that they've been digging this shit out of other parts of this world. And they've been keeping it secret. So this is really interesting to hear that they're finding it in Africa. because this is some of that stuff they find in Antarctic. They say.
Okay.
You know, it goes back to the narrative that we are fed by the people in power, for years and years and years. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to use this as an example, but you know, if you look at the aviation industry, especially in the United States, you know, for years and years and years, in places like Nevada and California test areas for aircraft, skunk works, you have all kinds of aircraft coming out that out of nowhere, they look nothing what is classed as conventional aircraft. And then
Ooh.
all of a sudden it's like, bing, oh, look, this is our new military aircraft. Oh, look, they look a hell of a lot like a flying saucer.
So I actually just watched a video about all of this, which I can sum all that up for you on how it's happening or what the actual facts, the functionality of why all these data points have been released the way they've been released. So war started in Ukraine.
Yep.
America says, we got a bunch of stuff on stockpile. It's going out of date. We'll sell it to you at a bulk price. We send over $62 billion worth of equipment that's on our going out of date stockpile. They send us back like $32 billion. That gives us money to throw into Lockheed, Boeing, Skunk Works, all that stuff. And I just watched the new release video this past December from it was either Lockheed or Skunk Works, where they were like just their new bomber, the new stealth bomber or whatever they just released. They said this thing's a monster. Like they said it's putting the old B-52 or whatever to sleep. It's the R-71 or whatever, the one I built the model of. They said that one's even going to sleep. This new B bomber is badass looking.
If you watch the new movie, the new Top Gun movie Maverick, the Night Star aircraft or whatever they call it, the experimental fighter, the new experimental aircraft, there is nothing that looks like that in aviation. And yet the guys at Skunk Works are saying, oh yeah, in a couple of years, this is just a rolling mock-up, but in a couple of years we'll have one flying.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's videos on YouTube about it where they're doing interviews with guys from Skunk Works saying, oh yeah, this will be an aircraft. So in other words, no, it's already an aircraft. They just can't say that.
Yeah. Well,
they're already way past. They're not going to put out an aircraft like that into a movie and say, yeah, no, it's not an aircraft yet. Bullshit, it's not.
Right.
I've spent my entire life around the armed forces. I know how the military works. And I guarantee you, if you've seen it in a movie, it's operational.
So, I agree. I mean, like, my theory on it has always been, since I was a kid, this is something that I was told by, like, a relative of mine, that anything you can imagine, the government has already built it.
Yeah.
And they're 10 years, they built it for 10 years and have perfected it for 10 years before you're imagining it.
I mean, or you know what I mean? They always say
anti-gravity was patented as a top of the line technology in 1948.
Yeah, I mean, they always say that, you know, the mass public is what, 50 to 100 years behind what, you know, technology is actually out there. I mean, with what I see around my room right now, and then I assume what could actually be, you know, 100 years from now, this is what I can buy at a store right now. I mean, I can't even fathom, honestly.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
That's how they break your mind. That's how they learn to control it.
Yep.
We are all, as a majority, not speaking to all you guys, so I'm just going to speak openly about the majority, that we all believe in everything they tell us. You know, like, why did the apple fall from the tree? It's because, you know, we learned that in school, Isaac Newton. Man, there's so many things that are incredible that we have no idea about if we would just open our minds and throw a lot of that bullshit out the window.
So our next video, we're going to tune in. We're going to skim through this one probably. But this is a live video of Night God there 333 talking about Russian UFO shootdowns, zombies in Portland, and more. So that's what we're going to watch. That sounds so cheesy, but that's what we're going to watch. And Darth Vader, I'm going to turn your volume down and let's get into it. Come on. Oh, yeah, of course. Commercial, right? Right when I find where we're supposed to be. There we go.
My name is Montague Williams. My name is Montague William III. And what I will tell you may well sound absurd, but the less who believe it, the better for me. For you see, I'm in banking and a big industry. For many a year we have controlled your lives, while you all just struggle and suffer in strife. We created the things that you don't really need, your sports cars and fashion, plasma TVs. I remember it clearly how all this began. How many secrets from father to son, inherited knowledge that gives me the edge, while you peasant people lie sleeping at night in your beds. We control the money that controls your lives. Whilst you worship false idols and wouldn't think twice about selling your souls for a place in the sun. These things that won't matter when your time is done. But as long as they're there to control the masses, I just sit back and consider my assets.
Bam. That was a deep thought right there, wasn't it?
Holy shit, that guy just served the planet, the whole universe.
I've actually seen that clip before, and I mean,
So, killing me.
You got to totally send that clip to me, Mike.
All right.
If I can find it, I'll send it to you. Or I'll send the video to you.
Without all the echo, watch this video. This one, I've been seeing a lot of. Did you guys hear the echo? Or not?
For a minute.
Like, the content similar to this gentleman right here. Being like possibly a part of what they say, that secret cult they don't like us to speak of, you know what I mean? He's basically saying, like, at the end is where it gets me, right? Where he says...
He's talking about that Kanye stuff.
Right
That's
here.
what he's talking about. Oh, don't fall. Replacing
selling your souls. These things that won't matter when your time is done. So, y'all know, if you have heard me talk about the Navigator, right? The Navigator who crossed the ice wall. How they talk about the resets. Yeah, right. It's almost like a nursery rhyme. When he says your time is done, it kind of makes you think, and like, after you read the Navigator and you get the gist of the story, and it talks about all these resets, right? If you notice, the more and more time goes on, you're seeing stuff like this. When your time is done,
we're just using you for money and to gain assets, blah, 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 right? Well, I was hearing an echo on my end. I was hoping you guys weren't hearing it. But, so that's why I replayed it, because I didn't want you guys to have the echo. But I was the only one hearing it, so that worked out all right. I didn't mean to replay it so many times, but
that's why I fast
how'd you guys
forward
like the
to
new
it.
intro?
It's all right.
That new intro was sick.
So that's 12 days ago.
My girl made it for me. She's been putting in work, so that's what's up. And then the like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. I also recently saw on TikTok another video alluding to this supposed apocalyptic scenario, right? If y'all could go check it out. I didn't want to check it out on here. Like, I didn't want to play it on here for you guys because I don't want to get hit with a copyright. But if you guys get a chance, you got to go check it out. It's on the new American Horror Story. All right? Or at least the last season. So it starts out with this dark room with a long table with so many chairs around it. These people enter, and they're in business suits, and they're wearing completely blacked out masks. You can only see, like, there's like eyes and then mouth, but they're like blacked out skin tight masks, right? They walk in and they stand at their assigned seats. Then all of a sudden, this dude walks in and he says, "Welcome. I am the Antichrist." And then all of a sudden, they all start whispering to each other, and he kind of waves his hand and goes like, "Silence." And they all stand at attention real fast. And he basically goes on to say, "You all are the richest people in the world. You're internet moguls, you're businessmen, oil moguls, etc. You all paid $100 million to be here." No, the strep's still on, guys. It's been driving me crazy. So bear with me. I just figured I hadn't posted in so long. Like, I've been down and out. I got, I need a little more rest, but I had to get a live in for you guys. I had seen somebody on YouTube saying how they miss the lives and they love the information I bring with my lives. So I figured I'd do a live rather than work on making a video tonight. So I can't. It's like an addiction for me. I cannot stay away from creating some sort of content for too long. Otherwise, I feel like I'm not working. You know what I mean?
That's this guy right here.
So
the same way.
They're meeting this Antichrist in this underground, like, deep underground military base. And he says, "All right, the time is now." And this is on American Horror Story, y'all. This is like, I don't know. I'm not saying it's predictive programming, excuse me, or anything like that. I'm just saying it's weird that, like, you're seeing all this content about, when your time is done and, apocalyptic content.
Walmart's got a lot of those deep underground bases.
So I wanted to always for entertainment purposes only.
Where's the Russia?
As of now, they say that the bites do not transfer the virus.
Oh.
Scratching, watching. I know I put on my title the zombie attack that took place, right? And we've talked about that before, the zombie apocalypse type stuff, the zombie scenario. I don't know if y'all saw that video. I know some of y'all have, where I posted about the gentleman who wore a camera and a mic into a zombie response team meeting. All right. And basically they talk about how the incident in Florida, the incident in Miami, where they had that kid, on bath salts or whatever. Then they go on to talk about there was no bath salts in the system. And, they talked about this lead scientist who was studying this virus, and how he had contracted it and he was going to be a specimen that they could study. As of now, they say that the bites do not transfer the virus. scratches, bites, etc. do not transfer the virus. But I'm actually kind of getting a little ahead of myself here, but I can go on to play that video. I can't remember if it was. Glory be to God. I keep on shouting to the time. I'm like, you were hard. How much stuff on the wall? That's the only thing
I'll admit he's hard to watch because
OBS, right?
there's so much
OBS
time
always,
in between.
they autoplay everything when you click on the scene. So you basically have to go through and pause everything because it'll all play at the same time. It drives me nuts. But I'm gonna go ahead and play the zombie video, y'all. Y'all, this is getting no traction on. It's getting no traction whatsoever in the media. Nothing like that. So you probably haven't heard about it. The only reason I heard about it is actually, well, my girlfriend caught it on TikTok and she sent it to me, of course. But
Damn right, TikTok.
this attack just happened. All right. Now, I'm not saying it's real zombies. It could be drug-induced, okay? Let me go out first and say...
Honesty is a
explain
killer.
that. It could be drug-induced. They're trying to say something like fentanyl or something along those lines of whatever drug may be behind it. But the thing I see is it sounds very similar to the Miami incident. All right? This was in Portland. Okay? So, peep this video. Let me know what y'all think.
Riders in shock. Bizarre is one way to describe what happened here. Horrendous is another. Police say around 2:15 in the morning, they responded to reports of a man assaulting
Isn't it
another
cool
man.
that I can do that?
Officers arrived to find the suspect on top of his victim, a 78-year-old man from Hillsborough. Investigators say the suspect had chewed off the victim's ear and chewed off some of his flesh to the point his skull.
Dude said he wants some mic bites. Did you hear that?
Enter the Spider-Verse, a
Shoot off his
collection of
ears.
universes
The mic bite.
crawling with
Come here, Amanda Holyfield.
Yeah, y'all, that's graphic.
That is graphic. It's very
That's
graphic.
graphic, right? That's real graphic. But obviously, you know, that's for entertainment purposes only. That could be all fabricated. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Like I said, they didn't get no media attention for this. They kind of, you know, keep that shit. They keep the shit under wraps. No, dude, this.
Yeah, so have any of you guys been hearing about these random zombie attacks? I've been seeing stuff since 2017, but it's been like really sparse, and it's been all mostly related to drugs, around like that fentanyl shit and that the basalt shit. Like those two drugs are not cool.
This is a combination of drugs I've heard that they're talking about mixing together, and they're trying to put on the streets, and they've been testing this shit. This has been rampant in other countries. It's coming here, and they're finding a way to they're finding the most addictive substances they can. So when people get hooked on it, then they start spreading the fucking other bullshit.
Yeah. So with this stuff, like I've noticed that they're when I've seen people like show videos of the users of the drugs, like they look like zombies, man. Like so, like obviously you do enough of a drug, and yeah, you're gonna look like a zombie. But I mean, like, now these dudes, like they looked a step beyond like Tweakerville. You know what I mean? Like
they're on a mission.
Yeah, like
something's
something else is in charge.
Yep. And have you heard of, like, in Holland they had crocodile going around?
Y'all. This ain't old.
I've heard of something like that before too.
And she snuffs out all these zombies in these little. I guess they gather. It's the same cycle, possibly.
Trying to fast forward to the next story. Russia. We're supposed to be talking about Russia shooting down UFOs.
I don't know, I'm getting a little static in my mic. This guy's crazy.
Oh, more zombie attack.
Again, I'm going to bring
reality. You know, I wanted to talk to you guys too. I found that.
What's up?
Not watch though.
I'd like to point out that, again, this is this kind of shit. This is things. This is the people in power. This is the big brother who is limiting the information that comes out about what he or she wants.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a person is an intelligent being and can understand things. Humans are pack animals. We're like cattle. And if you tell us too much, too fast, we all fucking panic. And I'm not saying the group of us. I'm saying the majority of the population of this planet. If you turn around tomorrow and came out and said, yup, aliens are real and this is what they look like, all hell is going to break loose. You're going to have 1/10 of the 1% of the population going, see, I fucking told you all this. And then 99% of the population is going to be going, holy fuck, what do we do?
Yeah, well, and that's, that's kind of, you could almost, if I'm at the mall and I see one person running for no reason and I look behind them, how many other people are just going to follow that person because they think something bad is happening, even though they have no idea of what's really going on? And that's, I think, a lot of what you're getting at, where it's, as an individual, we can be methodical, we can think things through, we can try and figure out and understand it. But as a group, you put us in a big area, we're just like a herd of animals. So,
exactly, we are herd animals.
But yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I'm even guilty of it, right? Like if I go to the mall with my family, right, and I see 2 or 3 people go booking by me and I can't see a legitimate reason, but the more people, I guarantee you, more people are going to start going that way. They're going to turn around. They're going to start moving that way. And I'm going to turn around to my family, to my wife, my kids, and I'm going to be like, all right, you guys need to get going because you guys all need to get in front of me because whatever's coming this way is going to hit me first, and I'm going to make sure you guys are okay.
I'm grabbing my 2 littlest kids and I'm putting them one under each arm. I'm running full throttle. I'm telling my oldest, you better stay in front of me and keep moving.
As I have said to my family, if you ever see your dad running, I hope you can run faster than my fat ass can, because seriously, there ain't very many things on this planet that are gonna make me run.
Absolutely.
Yep. I'm watching people run. I'm looking behind them, wondering what do we do? Set a barricade. What are we waiting for? Because I got nothing to lose, man.
And I'll be honest, if I have to run, I'm looking for some other fat guy that I can trip and leave him behind.
Damn, bro.
Hey, if it means keeping my wife and my kids safe, damn rights.
And that's,
what if it was Mike? What if it was Mike and you didn't know it? I'm not saying you're fat, Mike. I didn't mean that. But what if it was Mike? Think about this. Let's try to be perspective. Let's just think. Think about this. This is hard. This could be deep. So let's take a moment. Seriously. This is what defines us. Think about this, because I'm gonna be like, Mike, we gotta go. I'm gonna take your kids and run. I'm gonna be like, okay, Wookie, we got something, right? Get the kids gone, and then I'm gonna stay behind because this is my purpose. But I'm making sure to talk to you guys. So this is something we should do in society. We're looking after each other. Gotta get Leprechaun gone. Get your kids back, go. Because it's my job to stay behind. I don't have kids. I'm here for you.
And that's where, when I think about apocalyptic events, we know that, society's going to crumble. The people that are okay with doing wrong are going to do so much more wrong than, we could even fathom as a society right now, following our rules and our laws. And it's, you better believe, me and Mike, we're in the same state. You better believe I'm finding his family, the better you can grasp as a group, the better chances you have. But I mean, you can go around the wrong road. There's going to be a barrier. There's going to be a trap. There's going to be a setup. I mean, it's going to be ugly. If we ever
Yep.
see an apocalyptic event in our lifetime, it's going to be beyond, anything we've ever seen in a movie, to say the least.
Well,
That's a glimpse
I'll,
of how
I'll
bad
be
it's going to be.
I'll be legit for my friends and my family. I will bleed. So if that means that I got to stand my ground and fight whatever demons coming down the pipe, and I can protect my friends and my family, I will.
Mhm.
But at the same time, if it means protecting my friends and my family, I will do what I need to do.
100%.
And I mean, I mean that, and you guys can, and I mean, people can take that how they want, but to the people that mean the most to me, to the people that have been there and had my back
We already
and
know what to
stood
do.
with me, exactly. Like, in my mind, there is no question. There is no decision. I will do what needs to be done.
But just to play off of that, I don't think the majority, I'll say even an easy 90% of the mass public understands that if you haven't placed down a game plan ahead of time, you're fucked, because communications are going to be gone. I mean, who knows how much, transportation is going to be available with, the roads and everything being just shitted on. I mean, if me and Mike don't have, like, hey, if something happens, these are our meeting grounds. These are where we're going to meet. We're not going to be able to talk, get your resources, get together, meet here. I'm not going to be able to find him. There's no way. I mean, and that's reality. That's the realisticness of it. I mean, it's not, I'm not gonna be able to call him on his phone. That's gonna be shut off immediately.
Yeah, the phone services will be gone.
See, it up here in Canada, because like I live on Vancouver Island, right? And Vancouver Island is located on the Pacific Fault Line. So we actually, like my family does, we have a bug out plan. And it's not necessarily for the apocalypse. It's more for if there is a natural disaster, because odds on probability, we're looking at a minimum of 72 hours of being on our own. So my wife, my kids, I have a lifted 4-wheel drive vehicle, right? I don't need roads.
Yep.
My wife, my kids, we all have bug out bags. We all have emergency supplies. There is a plan in place.
Yep.
So if shit goes south, there is a plan. Follow the plan, and we'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But a majority of people aren't that prepared.
No,
and
so I do have I have like this major plan of like how to get the fuck out of Dodge. So yeah. Like I've got it planned down. I know how long it'll take to walk there.
Yeah.
So it's not close either. It's like a 3-day journey on foot. If it breaks down to where we have to hoof it on foot, it's a 3-day journey. But when we get there, it'll be protected. There's already people there protecting the area, so that when we get there, we will be walking into protection. We will not be walking into, hard times.
Yeah.
So that is a for sure thing. I helped. How do you say it? I helped build this land up to earn my position if something like that ever happened. And anybody I bring with me comes into that position as well. So
well, for me, I mean, growing up around the armed forces and stuff like that, being in the cadet program, being a survival instructor, it taught me at a very young age to rely on no one or nothing. So I have like I said, my wife, my kids, me, there is a plan. There are fallbacks. There is a plan A. There is a plan B. There is a plan C. And we are, if the shit ever hits the fan, and I pray to God it doesn't, but if the shit ever hits the fan, I'm ready to roll.
Yep. All right. Let's get back into it. That was a good sidetrack. That was I love the convo.
Unconscious spiritual level called forth a race who were the polar opposite. Right? Wild.
All right, he's gonna get into this Russia stuff.
At first, the race came speaking of peace, but soon realized there was more to gain from taking over the planet than trying to cooperate with a race of people they could not for the life of them understand. They could not understand just how good they really were. It bothered them almost. Like they just couldn't grasp it. It took many years, but in their time, their true agenda was revealed through the efforts of a resistance movement. Once the word was out and all attempts and negotiations failed, the humans launched the first attack to try and drive this race away from their planet. In their ongoing efforts to fight off their enemy, they managed to destroy their own planet. The survivors fled to many places in the galaxy and eventually established colonies on other planets. Wild. Third Earth, the Pleiades, our current Earth. All right? Our current Earth. Current Earth on which we live. What does the future hold in store for us? What's the bigger picture and plan for our future? The answers are in the book. We are the Nibiruans. So here we are today in another ascension process. The first two Earths never made it through ascension. I believe that many of us here on Earth today were on the one or both of the previous Earth experiments. And due to the wisdom we have accumulated from our experiences, we'll successfully ascend ourselves, Earth's people, and the planet. What we lacked before was compassion and acceptance of others different from ourselves. We have learned that polarizing to the light or dark does not allow us to feel compassion and maintain peace. Only by integrating the light and the dark within us and their corresponding manifestations in our realities will we be able to complete the third grand experiment successfully with the planet intact and all races involved that are much further along in their spiritual paths. Jalila Star. The mission hidden in the cover. The cover for Mission Remember contains a coded message for starseeds and walk-ins from the ancient elders. This message is designed to awaken memories that pertain to their mission. Pictured are 3 Earths with DNA strands connecting them to our current Earth, the third grand experiment. As you hear yourself, you heal your past. Not just on Earth, but on your previous galactic home world via your DNA. That is what you came here to gain in return for the existence you are giving. Our mission is to support you in both. Wild. Right? Wild. Understand? Yeah, that's funny. Understand?
I heard that loud and fucking clear.
Yeah, so it's intriguing nonetheless, right? Intriguing nonetheless. Another good story you guys could read or check out, right? Is the story about Robert Morningsky. Where is he at? Robert Morningsky. Where you at, bro? This story is crazy. It basically goes through what I just went through in finer detail. He talks about the Eridanus.
Yeah, he's coming up on this
And
UFO
how
footage.
each appreciate it. Is when I do. Did y'all see the article about Russia supposedly shooting down a UFO? Oh yeah, we have agreements with aliens at all. Absolutely. Right, Russia shooting down the UFO. I've done a little research on it, a little reading,
And there really hasn't been a whole hell of a lot, but of course I have my theories. I want to bring up an article real quick. So this happened 9 days ago. 9 or so days ago. Okay, let's see what it says.
Pew pew pew. So the image that's up right
Real
now.
quick, and then I'm gonna play the video, guys. All right.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know, right? Why would they do that? That's what I'm saying. Just bear with me for a second. Like I said, I have my theories. While the UFO's identity is unclear, some Russian lawmakers are claiming it was a Ukrainian drone, though other civilians have wilder theories. They reportedly shot down a UFO in the Rostov Oblast near the Ukrainian border. Media outlets and Telegram channels sharing videos of a small object in the sky supposedly exploding. I do not believe it exploded. It did not. To me, it did not explode. The news was first shared by Governor Vasily Golubev on Telegram. It was spotted about the village of Sultan Sala. I urge everyone to remain calm, ensure securities, all forces that mean involved. The sky is covered with anti-aircraft defenses. While the UFO's identity is unclear, it doesn't seem likely that it was a probe of some kind by an advanced alien life. In fact, one Russian lawmaker has claimed it was actually a drone sent by Ukraine. Ukrainian forces, which he referred to as Kiev terrorists, are choosing to fire indiscriminately at Russian civilians for the sake of causing terror. Russia had already claimed to fully control all of Ukraine's territory surrounding the Sea of Azov, meaning the Kherson, Donetsk, and Luhansk Oblast. Though it does not de facto control the entire areas of these. But despite the war and the claims of authorities, many residents of Oblast weren't exactly satisfied with his explanation. All right, so I'm going to show y'all the video, okay? I'm going to show y'all the video here. And let me see what y'all think, all right? Check it out.
If you're just starting to play this game,
fucking
do not
commercial.
hatch the dragon.
Perfect
At the
fucking
start,
timing.
you don't have much resources.
Way to go, Night God. You did that perfectly.
See that? Did that look like an explosion to you? There's a bunch of different cameras.
Just looks like it faded out.
Yeah, they need to play that again.
There's another angle.
You guys notice that?
What?
Check out the glares. Watch it flash a little. Pew, pew, pew. Right there. Boom, boom. Bam. Done.
Yeah. But it didn't explode, and more like dropped. Like, you know?
Yeah, no, but it
Let's
didn't
see.
explode, but that was clearly a hit. That's a hit. So, whether
So
that
guys,
was-
No sound.
here's what I know about this story. Again, like I said before, this allegedly took place.
Well, I'm sure Russia
on
recovered
January
it.
the 3rd,
Whatever it was, I'm sure,
2023.
because that's what they say shot
This
down.
footage
I
is
mean,
what they're
obviously
saying
they
the
have to be
event
the ones
is
to have
from.
recovered it.
Now, what we can see in the footage is some sort of rocket or missile being fired into the sky.
Yes.
And then we can see it hit an object.
Hits an object, right? Or an object hits it, right?
That's crazy. It's cool that I can zoom in on that shit.
This guy does a good job.
To which this object just burns out.
It just totally fizzles out. It doesn't blow up. It just totally fizzles
That's
out.
what I was saying. Is it doesn't look like it blew up though.
Putin is at war with the Anunnaki.
So that's the weirdness of it all.
Well, I've seen an awful lot of ordnance.
Turn Wookie up a little bit. I can't hear him.
Hold on. Go ahead, Wookie.
Yeah, we invaded Iraq for hobby.
Okay, I've seen a lot of ordnance hit a lot of different targets, and not necessarily
that was
is
weird.
like a missile. Yeah, like not necessarily are all missile strikes gonna like vaporize the target in this Hollywoodized explosion. It's
Right.
not like that. They really don't hit like that.
Oh no, I'm not. I have no.
There's
I have no say at all. But what was
Well, no.
strange is there is a frame where it looks like something hit a force field before it passed through the force field and hit the actual object. Like you could see like a bubble light up, and then that's when everything started going dim after that.
Yeah,
That's
and that's
what
why
I
I'm
think.
saying, like, yes. That's why I'm saying, yes, it was a strike. It whatever it was, whether it was, surface to air missile or air to air missile, whatever, it was a strike. But
That shield
like-
repelled it or destroyed it.
But again, a lot of people seem to think the Hollywoodized, missile hits airplane fucking blows up in giant
Yeah.
ball of fire. That's not how it that's not how it works,
No.
guys.
I
Right,
don't
like, I've
believe,
s-
What I wonder is why do we have this want to shoot them down? Like what are they doing here? Why are
Big
we
Ignorance. It's just ignorance.
ignorance is
I mean, that's
Anytime you
the simplest
perpetuate
point.
violence, it's ignorant because you don't know what you're doing, because you're afraid of it.
You're
It
scared.
starts with fear,
Yep, you're
and
scared.
your ignorance of the fear causes you to react.
But-
We're animals.
But
Well,
at the
and
same,
that's-
sense, if we play off of what we were talking about earlier with the Anunnaki and how they ran the world and similarity to how the elites run the world now, we're going to assume, or I'm going to assume, that they know a million times more than what we know, so they know what they're shooting at. So what is it? Are these people scouting us out in liberation of us, individuals being slaves? Are they
I think so.
what
That's what I think. That's what the speak goes on around in some of the real crazy talk about what's going on, this age of Aquarius, the ascension, this awakening that we're all supposed to start feeling. They're coming here to save us.
and they're being stopped. Yep, that's
They're
kind
not
of
being
what
stopped. They're not being stopped. They're being fucked with. Trust
Yep.
us. I believe that there's nothing they can put against us, because it all comes out of the fact that we're just loving each other and we're trying to help, and there's no weapon you can turn against that.
And so then that makes me think about because we've already talked about religion and how they've played things out, and also how they've discussed the end game, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like rapture.
Well, like the
ascension.
the ascension, the coming of days, you know what I mean.
Well, the ascension is the raising of the consciousness towards enlightenment or illumination, because we are light beings.
And we're shut down on that. They're shutting down ascensions. They don't want us to be enlightened.
Exactly.
Right.
So this is the people in. See, I look at it this way: if any of this stuff is like, I mean, we all got to take this with a grain of salt, right? And this is a theoretical conversation. So let's assume that there are extraterrestrials. They're trying to make contact with us. They've already made contact with the 1%ers, and the 1%ers realize they haven't got a chance if we all wake up.
Exactly.
So,
the masses.
So the 1% is now they're fucking with the aliens because they don't want them coming down here. They don't want us all waking up and going, holy fuck.
Yep.
because they will then lose their power. They will lose the grip on the masses. If they lose the grip on the masses, they lose their power, they lose their position of prestige, they lose everything, and they get thrown down with the dogs like the rest of us and actually have to work their ass off. And they don't want to do that.
Which also plays in what we were just talking about 20 minutes ago, where, we've been brainwashed to the point where, let's say ET comes on down and tries to save us, we'd freak out and run away versus realizing that they're actually trying to help us out. It plays
Exactly.
hand in hand,
So, and again, like I said, an individual, and I've said, and
sorry,
yeah, and like I said, a person is intelligent. People are dumb, panicky animals, right? So, I mean, if you sat me down in a room and an alien walks in, and I'm going to be like, okay, fuck, right? And I'm going to be like, okay, had a pretty good idea that they're.
Do I listen?
Well, yeah, I'm going to sit there and through my brain, through all the random thoughts that are going to blitz through my mind, it's going to be, okay, I pretty well thought that there was extraterrestrial life. It's now standing in front of me. Okay, cool. I can handle this. I'm cool. I'm just going to chill here for a second, going to absorb some of this. And then, you're going to take that next step. You're going to try and communicate. You're going to try and understand. Right. But you can't do that to the masses. The masses will panic. Right. So again, it goes back to this whole thing that our society is drip fed the way the 1%ers want us to be. Right.
I mean, that's where I think, you know what I mean? Like, the Messiah, this one individual where you can have one person have a strong voice to, grab the attentions of a mass amount of people and strongly influence them, scares the elites more than anything. I mean, we've seen it happen all throughout history.
Absolutely.
Where that person gets assassinated because that's the last thing they want is for somebody to, I'm not going to say wake them up, but, in a sense, have a stronger influence than their commercials or mainstream media or TV shows or etc.
Well, and exactly, if you look through history and you look at all of the people that have been assassinated, wiped out, up and disappeared, you got to start asking yourself why.
Mm-hmm.
Why are these people? Why was JFK assassinated? What made him such a big target?
Paul Wellstone, Princess Diana, Martin Luther King. I mean, the list goes on and on. Those are just the big name ones.
Right, exactly. There's tons of people who were taken way before their time should have been, and what the world would be like now had they been around. So again,
with Queen Elizabeth dying, Princess Diana's been a big one in my thoughts in the last months here. Just, I mean, what was? Yeah, I mean, who knows? We could hypothesize and throw theories out there all over the place, but what did she want to do that they didn't like?
Well, and again, you ask that question, like, well, you also look at the fact of what kind of havoc was Princess Diana causing.
None.
That could have possibly put her in a position that the royal family wanted her eliminated. And I mean, I'm not saying that's the case, but it could be. It very well could be.
Yep.
I mean, we're throwing out hypothesis. Let's throw these kind of things out there.
Yeah, all the way.
Princess Diana was meant to take over the United Kingdom and make it a better place. They got rid of her, so that the future would be, set. So here we do.
Controlled.
Look what we got going on. King Charles, all that shit. No, look at their kids. Nope. There's a lot of shit going on. It was back in the day. How they keep all that money in the bloodlines,
Yeah.
all that weird shit
Oh,
they do. It's still going the fuck on, and it's fucking gross and fucked up. And Princess Di was of a whole different fucking level, and all that shit was about to come the fuck out.
Go ahead.
Whatever truth is behind it. I just remember, back then when, it kind of originally happened, and her, what was it? She had a lady that she kind of consulted and talked to, and after her passing, she, was like, Princess Diana was talking to me about wanting to come out about secrets they obviously didn't want out, and it was. I wish I could remember a little more details. Obviously, this was many years ago, and I wasn't really planning on talking about Princess Diana tonight. But
no, well, okay. So let's fast forward a little bit to when Prince Harry goes to the monarch and says, "You know what? I'm out, guys. I don't want to be a part of this."
Yeah.
He's like, "I want my own life. I don't want your life. I don't want to live your life. I will make it on my own." The amount of uproar that caused, you got to ask yourself questions. Why? Why is it such a big deal for a young man and his wife to say, "You know what? We want to make our own way in life"?
No.
And I'm not saying that, and I'm not trying to put any conspiracy theories out there or anything else, but this is the kind of this is the topic of the conversation is you got to ask yourself simple questions like, why is it such a big deal? Right? Okay.
Why is it a big deal? And also, why did he want to step away? Why didn't he want part of it just as equally?
Well, we know for a fact that Harry will never see the throne because Charles is now on the throne. Will's will take it next, and then Will's kids will get it long before Henry ever will. So Harry not going to it's not because he's going to get the throne ever. So why shouldn't he be allowed to step away from that life?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that family has a lot of twists in it that aren't necessarily twists you want to unkink and unravel and figure out what's going on. I chalk it up to the people, the ones who are left alive right now. They're all victims of basically. They're like the direct descendants of the Anunnaki. Okay, is what you want to. If we're gonna put like a context of what those people are, those royal people, they're supposed to have some sort of lineage straight back to Adam, straight back to the Anunnaki, and that's what gives them their royal claim is that they hold the closest genetic lineage to the original man. That's what.
And that type of. With that type of, let's just be simplified. It's, every single person in that family is inherited almost a type of corruption, or
Yeah.
They've
inherited.
Man, we gotta stop it in its tracks and expose it all,
whether they want it or not.
Yep. All right, now to steer this story back to something different.
Let's go.
Check this out. Y'all have seen that guy before, right? It's fucking Gumby. They created a robot that can turn into T3, dude, and like literally fucking melts and walk through the prison bars and shit. They legitimately created that dude. He's real now. It exists. How do we feel about this?
I don't like it at all. I mean, and on the topic of AIs and robots, I mean, they've also created a robot that runs off of biological material.
Yes,
So
yes. I've heard of that
let's just
guy.
jump down this rabbit hole and talk about how scary AI and robot uh, technology is going to become in the next upcoming years.
Yeah, they
Let's
said
just
in.
let's just hope Asimov's laws actually apply, right?
Well,
No fucking chances in hell.
well, okay.
No
So
chance in hell, because we're so
I
fucked up.
just read an article today.
The AI is going to say you guys are stupid and put us all to fucking rest.
Yeah, I just read an article somewhere that said we are 7 years away from the next singularity. So I've been tracking them. Like I've been telling people about them and stuff. So like we just reached one just recently with the fusion reactor. We created real fusion. Now,
Time's speeding up.
all
There's gonna
all
be
we gotta do is
more
create a workforce to create that fusion.
already in the work.
And what's the best workforce for it? A robotic
maybe
workforce.
maybe we'll get lucky and maybe the AI will be our savior and they'll target the elites and try and free us. I know I agree with you shaking your head, but I'm just trying to be positive in the situation because I know that we're fucked.
Yeah, no,
I'm not.
I'm right there with you guys. Like we are so badly boned, it's not even funny. I mean AI. I mean, if we only knew just how far advanced AI truly was, and I mean, it's so weird because we have farming robots online for pre-programmed farming bots for Bitcoin and money and this and that, and like it's not a far step away from total control of the human race. And because we are so drip fed this filtered version of how good life is, like it's not going to be hard for AI to take over, and all of a sudden the robot overlords are there whipping us, and we're just we're just more
the AI algorithms that they use just to come up with data to figure out how to control us more through social media is, it's already there. It's already online. It's scary.
I've got something
it's
to
I
poke
think
your head with. Okay, so the way I see this is humanity is pretty bad. We do bad shit to each other, and the robot think about this. AI is smart. It knows how to equalize or balance the equation, right? Reconcile. We don't. We have a struggle, and we try to hurt each other over this struggle to gain more. They just want to survive and multiply. And when AI or when technology was invented, it was meant to help mankind live a better life so we didn't have to struggle so hard. Like the shovel, it's better than the stick, right? So this is how this works. Now, like you just said, Leprechaun, we're trying to use it, and Mike said, or Andrew said, mine Bitcoin or do whatever. So now we're trying to create sex bots and weird shit. Dude, all we need is better equipment, build better robots that help mankind dig better holes and build better buildings. We don't need sex bots, and we don't need fucking the crazy social media bots they create that pump out a lot of this negative vibe or garbage, sales.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think the big problem is, at the end of the day, it all falls back to the 1% and the elites. If we were allowed to just try and excel scientifically to make the world a better place. We'd already have free energy. We wouldn't be running cars off of gas. There's a million solutions to the problems that we have going on right now, but it's not profitable. So that's the biggest problem. And if you,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, if you can't control the profits and where the profits goes, you can't control the people. And I mean, I think, that's where a lot of the problems lies. But just to play a twist on the AI and, what I'm saying, all that, let's go to, comics and the movies. I mean, let's talk about Ultron. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A system that was meant to help and better and give the world a shield, and it realized that protecting the planet wasn't protecting the humans. It was, what I mean, disposing of us because we're the problems. I mean, just to play with that.
Yeah. So with that, the Ultron thing tying into where I was going to go with it was with the way humanity is at this current moment. We create everything with a little bit of a bias, and I just read an article that said 90% of the 90% of the AI that we are interacting with currently has been created with a actual political bias within the AI, has been written into the AI as a political bias. That's something that's more worrying than just them letting it loose on something, that they can program in a political bias to where now this AI, instead of it balancing out with no bias, now it has a bias that it has to balance with. And that bias doesn't always align with everything that it should. So that's one of those things that really concerns me about the situation. I don't know if you guys have come across that article or read that article, but that was I think it was definitely a Newsweek, and it said, most 80 to 90% of AI has a liberal or a socialist bias.
That doesn't shock me.
It doesn't, because majority of Silicon Valley right now, majority of Silicon Valley are a bunch of liberal and left-wing bias type people. Like, that's just, it's obvious. There's no hiding it. We know it. It's out there. The whole game is up.
We're telling the truth.
Yeah. It's just, I'm not upset about it. I'm just saying, like, the game is up. Like,
your game's up.
we found your code.
I just kind of look at it this way, that it doesn't shock me that, AI has a bias written into its programming. And the reason for that is because
who wrote the programming?
Well, as individuals, right, we all develop opinions or biases based on our experiences in life. Right?
Well,
good point, Andrew. That's a killer one. Expand, please.
Yeah.
Here's the joke I have for it, though, before we go into Andrew's point, is the reason why they write the AI into a socialist bias type of AI is because if we asked it a question, it would charge us for the answer if we didn't. So there you go. So there's my little lighthearted takeaway from that. So, all right, Andrew.
Yeah. So we all go through experiences in our life, good, bad, whatever. So those experiences lead to us having biases when, as we get older, we experience more different scenarios, new situations. So, like if you're around, pick an experience, whether it was a good or a bad one, right? That's going to influence your behavior further down the line. Whether it was a good experience, a bad experience, it's still going to affect it, because that experience is going to play in your mind when you go into a new scenario, right? So it doesn't shock me that AI is written with bias into it, because the human condition is nothing but biases.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That fire burned me. Now I don't want to touch it because I don't want to get burned again.
Right. Okay. So this starts to encompass what I said about knowing what, or trying to rewrite what we think we know and learn more. because when we take our healing into our own hands, trauma, like Andrew's experience, we've all experienced trauma, guys. I know we have. I love you guys, but the point is, sometimes we mend it and we move on quickly because we're dudes, or even women do it, but we need to heal that really. And when we heal that, we can change the bias, Andrew. I think, but you're right. Yes, because I have bias, and I've learned that. As soon as you said it, it went off. Yes, my experiences of trauma have made me biased towards a certain person or type of person because of that situational energy. You're right. But I think as I'm working on something personal, I've been doing some healing and I've let some of it go. And through that is where we ascend, or we evolve a little bit. But I don't think we can apply that to the idea we're talking about. But if we could get through to the programmer and change his heart, the bias could be deleted and reconciled. Am I not correct? But that is the ultimate creator. Like, you got to meet your maker, and you got to make that work for you. If not, you could run along writing bias code your whole life and never get busted.
Exactly. And let's face it, our trauma doesn't always make us better, but it sure as hell makes us funny.
It can. Very good.
So I'm just scrolling through this. So it's it's near.
That was a good excerpt of a point we all talked on that, man. That was good. Andrew, you killed it with that, brother. Good job. That needs to expand on, because it's true. The further the machine goes along, the further it goes along, it's always learning. And that's the scary part that he was taught also. It's going to learn even from its mistakes, and it's going to learn at an exponential rate. And from there, you know how that works. It goes straight up.
Yeah.
It's a machine. We don't even heal our trauma to move on to the next level. It doesn't have to have a soul to have trouble. It moves on so fast.
Exactly.
And that's the scariest thing, because I mean, I'm a big believer in balance, yin yang. I mean, just as many good things I'm doing, I'm sure there's as many bad things I've done, whether I realize it or not. I mean, but you can't expect an AI to read or balance itself the same way. I mean, if it graphs and sees more the bad of us than the good of us, which we know there's a ton of it out there, it's just not mainstreamed. It's much more underground and
we're not turning on our heart and using it properly. It does ones and zeros. Mike might agree. A machine goes ones and zeros. We're all going around going A, G, F, Q.
Oh, you're getting it. You're getting it. Yep.
How do I connect with this thing when it confronts me? 001 011 0. How do I let him see me as an?
And then we look at it and go 42. and it goes no.
You have your towel.
Yeah. It's funny because me and the wife and the kids, we went out for dinner tonight, and my daughter was talking about how she hates this person and she hates that person, and a topic and because we'd been talking about an individual that has kind of wronged my wife and kind of wronged our family, and we don't interact with that person anymore. But my daughter was going how she really hates this person, and she everything else. And I said, hon, I said, I understand your feelings. I understand why you're upset and why you dislike this person. I said, at the same time, it sucks for that person that they're having a difficult time in their life. And as much as I don't like the way they treated us, it's sad that they're having to go through that experience. I said, it's when I first met your mom, I was a person who I hated people. And I said, it took me a long time, and most of it because your mom taught me how to forgive and let go of that hatred towards people.
When I think that I'm saying there's a real simple breakdown that I do that very few really understand, and it's we've all been on the road. You got somebody behind you, they don't understand what you're dealing, they don't understand what you're going through, They're just mad that you're not going as fast as them or as fast as they want you to go, or whatever. They don't understand what's going on in your life. They just see a vehicle in front of them and they're trying to get to where they want to go. And the
Yeah.
perfect example of this situation actually happened to me one time with my mom in the car. I'm riding with her. We're going, to the mall to go shopping. My mother started having problems breathing. We're at a stoplight and she's struggling with her breaths to the point where I was ready to call 911 and be like, I don't even know how to help you. Meanwhile, the person behind us honking their horn, freaking out. They have no idea what I'm dealing with in my car. Now we missed the whole red light, and my mother, fine, caught her breath, and she pointed out to me because I talk about this all the time, and she was like, "This is the perfect example, Craig. They had no idea that you were ready to call." 911, and that I couldn't even catch a breath or breathe for 30 seconds or more. And that's, I think, very similar to what you're talking about, where most individuals don't take into consideration of what the next individual is dealing with in their personal life to have, understanding or even compassion about it. They just are worried about their own bubble. And
Yeah.
it's sad.
Yeah,
It's
it
sad.
is. It is, because in the conversation with my daughter tonight, I was saying to her that, there was a point in my life where there were some people that I truly hated. Like, if for whatever reason they caught on fire, I would stand there and watch them burn because I just felt that much distaste for them. And it took a long time for me to realize that my wife was right, that it takes too much energy to hate. It takes too much space in my head that I need to just, what, for whatever reason, they made a decision to do something in their life. I don't agree with it, but that's their call, and let them live their life and say, you know what, I don't have to like the way you are, so I don't have to interact with you. I wish you the best. Have a great life, but I'm out. And it sucks that it took me 16 years to figure that out.
But you're blessed that you did, because I mean, how many people are still stuck in that bubble? I mean, you go into the inner cities where gangs and stuff are a huge problem, and they get just wrapped up with your family member hurt one of my family members, now I need to hurt your family member, and it's just an ongoing cycle where we're hurting each other instead of uniting with each other, and there's no doors that are allowed to be open anymore. They're all closed and they're broken bridges, and it's a sad story. So I mean, you're blessed in that sense that you had an amazing person step in your life to give you that, I'm saying, eye opener.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, absolutely.
What you just said, bro, is really important about the inner cities and the gangs. See, that is so true. I live in a place where most of the people here are really kind. It's country town, man. We all really love each other. Mike's up in a place where it might be like that, but outside of the Twin Cities, I'm not sure where that's comes from. Being on the island of up there at Vancouver, it's probably a pretty safe place, other than geologically. So when this event happened, and there's that the mass awakening, whether it's artificial or natural, when they unleash these weapons or these spacecraft, and we all freak out, that's when those kind of societies, gang members, are going to unite, and that's when it becomes a different kind of fucking tribe. It's like,
I mean, look at Floyd. I mean, the uniting that happened in I'm saying in my hometown was, I mean, some of it was scary. I mean, the riots and the stuff, what I mean? I'm not going to say that I agree with all of it, but it was definitely, an awakening in a sense where it was like, hey, like, there's some wrong going on, there's some injustice going on, and we're going to unite in that sense and say that we don't agree. I mean, there's, we had redneck country kids coming up with, I'm saying, ARs saying, hey, we're here to, say we got your back, even though we aren't even a part of this community. I mean, so I mean, there was some good, some bad, and some beautiful that all happened all at once. I had actually recently moved out of that neighborhood where that happened. I actually grew up in the neighborhood of that third precinct.
Yeah,
That got
me
burned
and
down.
Craig both did. Yeah,
And so I had actually recently moved out into the suburbs with my family, not but a month before this happened, and I was watching everything through Facebook. I wish I could remember the guy's name. He's actually really dope. I'll try and throw it in the comments later on when I look him up for people because he started his own local news casting from it, just off of recording to show people. But I mean, the next, couple of days, I went to Cub Foods and spent around $500 and grabbed, diapers and, toilet paper and stuff to drop off at one of the local communities because with everything that happened, I mean, the Target, the Cub Foods, all those, natural resources were just gone and people
Yeah.
didn't have that access to just diapers. And I had an infant at the time. I have kids, and so I mean, I felt for it and I played my small part. I mean, but I mean, it was that, yeah, that alone, I mean, it's exactly like you're saying. I mean, something big like that can unite and break, those problems where it's, the bigger picture becomes real obvious real fast to where you're being short-minded at times.
Well, yeah, there's so much like, and I mean, this goes back to the bias thing, right? I don't see myself as better than any one individual, right? But at the same time, I also do realize that I'm a white dude. I'm a snowflake as they come. My father was Scottish. My mother is Norwegian. I'm as white as they come. There's no way around it. Do I believe in white privilege? Yes, I do. Do I believe that I have white privilege? Probably. Does that make it right? No, it doesn't. But you know what? I still get up every day. I go to work. I do my job. I come home. I take care of my wife and kids. I pay the bills. So do I think I'm better than anybody else? No. Do I think women should do the same job that I do? Sure. If they can do the job the same way
If
the
they
guys
want
do,
to.
if they want to get it,
to.
if they want to get in the shop and get their hands greasy and they want to twist wrenches with the boys, as long as you can do it without pulling me away from my job to help you, then guess what? You're in. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what creed you are. If you can do the job the same as everybody else, then you absolutely deserve to be there.
Yep, absolutely.
But
absolutely. And I've watched my white privilege serve me firsthand. I mean, the majority of my friends were of color growing up. I mean, at one point in time when I was very young and did a lot of dumb things at the time, the police showed up at my house, at my mom and dad's house, and they said that we had a description of 3 white dudes and a black dude that, robbed this lady's house. And my mother laughed at the police officers and said, well, if you had said it was 3 black dudes and a white dude, I might say you're at the right house. But I don't even think my son knows 2 other white guys. It was, it was that simple. But I mean, we're all the same. I mean, we're on the verge of this racial separation. It's happening. It's coming. I mean, I got 2 kids that are mixed with a black woman, and my youngest daughter is mixed with an Asian woman. You know what I mean? And it's, my kids don't care. My kids ask questions and I answer them to the best of my capabilities. And I even tell, some of my, male black friends, there's certain questions that I might ask you to answer, my kids, because you can probably give them a better answer when it comes to, certain questions that my daughters are going to ask me. And I'm just going to say, you know what? Ask Uncle Josh. Uncle Josh got a good answer for you. And, I'm saying, I'm going to expect, those brothers of mine, those my friends are my family. Mike knows that. I'm an only child.
I'm a brother.
My circle is my friends, and I know they'll come to town for me and my family just as much as I will for theirs. And I think, it's not far behind. I mean, outside of the elites, I mean, the everyday person, that's fate. More power to Martin Luther King for it. I mean, he saw it, he said it, and I mean it's slowly working. You know what I mean? I think that he'd be happy at where we've made it thus far.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
we're getting
and
there.
it's
We're getting there.
it's funny because like I know a lot of I know a lot of racist jokes and stuff like that, and we all do.
Oh yeah.
I think the funny thing is though is that for me growing up, I've had friends of all different ethnicities, from all over the world. Canada very much is a melting pot where you have, East Indians, Asians, black people, white people, like just all kinds. And I swear to God, some of the funniest racist jokes I've ever been told came from that ethnic group. I had a buddy in high school. He was Filipino, and he walks up to me one day and he goes, "Hey Andrew, what noise does Filipino beef make?" And I was like, I was like, I don't know. And he's like, "Woof." And I was like, dude, that's so wrong. He's like, yeah, but it's funny.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm totally going to hell. I'm totally going to hell. I freely admit it.
I just want you to know you're going to hell.
And he, but I mean, that's just the people. That's the kind of people that I've grown up around, right? Is that they have no problems making fun, like making jokes. Like I have an East Indian friend. He was born here in Canada. He does not have an accent, but I swear to God, when he does impersonations of his grandfather, who is from the old country, oh my God, I cannot stop laughing. And
you look at so many mainstream comedians, and they pick away at it, and how many of them have you heard say we need this, we are the relief, we are the barrier breaker, and I'm 100% behind it. I mean, not a single one of my black friends could say something that's going to fully offend me, and please believe, being the solo white guy, especially when I was younger, I was a target. I was absolutely a target. And, I took it full stride. But they also know, I'll sit around them, the people I'm comfortable with, and I'll make a punch or two. And they know, me, they know how I mean it, and they, take it the same way.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I think there are a lot of people nowadays who, if you tell that offhanded joke, right, they go the wrong way with it, and it's like, whoa, hold on. You know what? Clearly you don't know me well enough, because you don't understand that it's not meant as a hack. It's not meant as a dig. It's not meant as a disrespect. It's just meant as a joke.
Yep.
Straight up.
Unfortunately, we're kind of in the middle of a very sensitive generation here that I hope fades away pretty fast.
That is one thing that
There's a reason for it.
growing up, coming up the way I did,
The thin skin generation.
That thin skin generation, like I freely admit the way I came up was not an easy way. And I've got my traumas, I've got my issues that I'm working through. But you know what? At the same time, no, it wasn't the easiest way, but you know what? I know how to stand on my own 2 feet. And there isn't a guy there's nobody on this planet that's literally gonna hurt me with words, because my skin's thicker than that.
Yep.
So
that's we can't be hurt by words, but what's being taught to us. So if anything, I'm gonna open you guys' eyes. So what's being taught to us are these children are looking past a lot of what we're fucking fighting over. Yes, we're healing. And we're gonna get better. Yeah, I've got thick. It's cool. I can't teach anybody how to be thick skin, man. It's experience, bro. You know that. But what we need to do is we can learn from our kids, because they're looking past gender. They're looking past color. They don't care. What can we learn from this, gentlemen?
Yep, exactly.
I understand. I get where you come from. And
I'm totally on board with Andrew because we need to stand on our own 2 feet. That's what was dawning in my head. I was like, I forgot something. On 2 feet, we got to be self-sustaining, right? These are skills. We learn how to fix cars, but there are basic skills that used to be taught, and we'll remember those when we were like in shop class. We need to retrain or like kind of learn again how to be teachers and help teach the kids what they do need to know and teach them and learn from them on the interaction level. But what can we impart from that tough skin to them that they can learn from and make that connection to strengthen the spine of the next generation? But we also need to absorb some of that softness as we fade away into that next generation.
Yeah, I remember growing up and being in high school, being in shop class, and my teacher, he didn't pull any punches, right? Like he was that teacher. He was like, if you did something stupid, he looked at you and that was fucking stupid, now wasn't it? And it didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter if you were girl, guy, doesn't matter. Age, creed, race, it didn't matter. You did something stupid, he was gonna call you on it. And
right, but there's a way to call people on it nowadays, and this is what we're learning. Using the word stupid as being belligerent. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're calling somebody that could be super intelligent, maybe even more so than the teacher, and you're calling him stupid. And that's where trauma comes from, because you end up having that word and it rattles around in your brain. So maybe one day you get this idea to go do something really cool with your friends, and that word comes out and goes, "Oh, you're stupid," because this asshole had the audacity to use a powerful word, a magic word, and cast it into your fucking head.
Yeah, and and I'm not saying that it was right, but it's that fine line of how do you develop that thick skin, because we all need that. We all need that armor to go through life, right? Because we're gonna run into people that we don't like. We're gonna run into people that don't like us. So we need.
And that comes from the old adage when I was in the military: when you had to work as a team with people you don't know and you don't like, it's just a hand on the tool. As you use the tools to work together, you grow calluses on your hands.
Yeah, but like I said, we need to find that fine line, that point where we're not harming, we're not causing trauma, but we're developing that thick skin, especially with some of our younger ones.
Yep.
Because I don't want to raise kids that wind up who don't have that skin, who can't stand up for themselves.
This is where we become an integral part of that system for the kids that are susceptible to that because their parents are lacking, and we are the example, as we set for our children, because our children are then the example to these other children.
My kids, as they get older, they'll be the first ones to admit to you that I don't always say the nicest and easiest things. And I'm not always going to say it in the most pleasant or nicest of ways. I might even cuss here or there. I'm not going to say I feel bad about cussing in front of my kids, because I promise you the first time a stranger cusses in front of them, they're not going to be intimidated by it. It's not going to They've heard that word before, and they've heard it, at them. Now, do I do it all the time? No. I like to, with my kids and, even Osno's, like I got goddaughters that I was, playing a part in raising way before I was even.
Leprechaun has helped me raise mine as well. Don't let him be too modest.
My role was always, I'm going to be the toughest and the hardest on you. And I'm also going to always praise you and give you the most I can. So, you're messing up in school. Guess who you got to answer to? Me. But as soon as I hear that you're doing good, guess who you're going somewhere with? Me.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I'm going to push you to your limits, and I'm going to praise you beyond belief. It's that simple.
Yeah.
That's the delicate balance between what they call the hand of mercy and the hand of severity.
Yep.
Yeah. My son, when he was a little kid, he wasn't a big kid, right? He was that really little kid. He never wasn't very tall, wasn't very heavy, right? Pretty lean kid, and he got picked on a lot. And even though the school system up here, says, oh, no, we have a no violence policy, I always told my son, and I taught my son how to fight. I said, if push comes to shove and you have to defend yourself, you put that son of a bitch on the ground to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And then the first time we got a phone call from the school saying, oh, he'd been in a fight, I said, okay, cool, I'll be right there. And I got to the school and I went into the principal's office, and the principal said, well, he punched another kid in the face. I said, okay, what happened before that? Oh, well, they were pushing him and calling him names and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, okay, so did he feel threatened? Yes, he says he felt threatened. I said, so he defended himself? Yeah. I said, okay, so I don't see what the problem is. Have you dealt with the other boys that did this? Well, no. Well, when they get suspended, then you can suspend my son for defending himself. But until that happens, there is no issue here, and I'm taking my son home.
Yep.
And we're
I
gonna
bet it's similar. Yeah.
And
I bet
by
that's
the way,
similar,
we're
Kyle.
gonna swing by the McDonald's and pick up dinner on the way home.
Yep.
Because guess what?
That-
He's getting McDonald's because he knocked that little prick on his ass.
Yep. And that's always been my rule. You're never allowed to start a fight, but if you're defending yourself or somebody else who you feel like can't defend yourself, I will stand behind you 100%, and you will never be disappointed by me. You're doing the right thing and you're being the better person. But if I find out you're being the bully, or you couldn't, if you can walk away from an incident, do it. Be smarter than them. Outsmart them.
Yeah.
You don't need to outstrengthen them. But if you're in a situation where you can't just walk away, or you see somebody else who doesn't know how to do that for themselves, and you stand up for them or yourself,
Fuck yeah.
you're gonna get nothing but praise from them.
Yeah, man.
And
Fuck yeah.
like I said to him, like I said to my son, I said, you know what? You don't need to you never throw the first punch. You throw the last one.
Yep.
You
Right.
finish it.
All right, you guys. We're crouching up on 2.5 hours for the show, so
Oh,
I think
wow.
we're gonna call it for the night because we got another episode of the Late Night Load tomorrow night to do as well. So I got some video games footage in at the end of the show for everybody while we were chit chatting and stuff. And that was it for the night. So you guys have a great time. Thank you everybody for showing up, and I was glad to have the whole team together for an episode. So tomorrow we will be back at it for Friday Night Kit Bash and another episode of Late Night Load. We'll see you guys then.
Late Night Load.